All right, so thank you for coming. We are live. We're live today on the leader story, the first episode we're actually having this year. So and I'm so glad because we have a very beautiful year ahead of us, and we are starting off with a very powerful story for every one of us. To encourage every one of us who has set a goal, you want to achieve your goal, and of course all the challenges of last year to this year which has been ongoing, and all the rest of them. So I'm so glad because we are bringing this podcast again to you, and like I said, it's the first this year. I remember, like you're showing on the screen, this is William Sukudi, a certified coach with John Maxwell. And I have a guest that I respect so much, and of course, his resilience in business, doing business in Nigeria has been very amazing. I have a guest right here on the studio, Umoh Effiom. He's very, in fact, when I look at some of his work on his logistic company in Lagos here, and the storyline, and of course the whole process, I admire that from a distance because for you to do business in Nigeria requires a lot. So we're welcome on studio today from Umoh Effiom. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for
All right.
joining us.
Thank you very
Can,
much, Mr. Williams, for having me.
can you say Happy New Year to our audience?
Happy New Year to you, sir. Happy New Year to you, audience. It's really amazing to be here on this program. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome. So the today's program is about everyone listening to us. Today's program is about the story of resilience. All right, achievement, challenges, the story of failures. Why I like a lot. In fact, one of my mentors was talking. Of course, I've heard a lot of my mentors say that, and that is what I also do. That when they meet people, the questions they ask is not how they succeeded, this, that, and that. The questions they ask them is where, how did you fail? Where did you fail? What did you do, and all the rest of them? Because if you check the average mindset of an entrepreneur, a leader, is basically on the side of the challenges the person is facing every day. So today is going to be about story of resilience. It's going to be about stories on the challenges we have in this part of the world, in Nigeria here also, doing business here, and of course the challenge, the story on growth, and also. So I want you to listen carefully because I know some of you there have already put down your goals and you are now wondering what is the next thing. And January is almost spent. January is almost spent. By next week, we're out of January or thereabouts. Next, less than 2 weeks, we're out of January. And some of us will now slack back and they're now wondering what's next. February will be here. So I believe that this stories is going to help someone outside there to know what next to do. So like we introduced our guest, and also, of course, we are going to be hearing from him. I'm going to leave this whole table here for him to shake it all by himself, just with few questions, and he's going to help us with those questions and all the rest of them. So I believe so strongly that you have your paper, you have your pen, you have everything you need to get to hear what you ought to hear. All right. So he's the CEO of Fastpace Logistics Limited, one of the fastest growing logistic company we have in Lagos here. So, Umoh, can you tell us briefly about your background and why you are doing what you are doing now?
All right. Thank you very much. I have a background in mechanical engineering, both my bachelor's and I also have a master's degree in advanced mechanical engineering. So prior to when I decided to go fully into my business, I worked in the Nigerian oil and gas industry for about 8 years. And throughout my career in the oil and gas industry, I've handled activities from engineering to project management, and then my last role was in business development, where I was the head of the business. All right. So that has been my background in a nutshell. So while on my full-time job in the oil and gas business, I noticed a gap in the logistics door-to-door package delivery segment, and I decided to create this product called Fastpace Logistics with several services to meet that gap and then to solve that problem. And I believe that even as we progress, I will share more insights on, how and what translated and what led me into starting this business. So
Wow, thank you. That's so beautiful. I have a question for you. You
yes,
said you were there in oil and gas industry.
yeah.
An average Nigerian here would not want to leave that kind of comfort to go and become an entrepreneur. So, what is driving your entrepreneur mindset?
All right. So while on my full-time job, here in Lagos, I tried to order lunch from a very reputable restaurant. I don't want to call the name. And by the way, that restaurant right now is one of my biggest clients. So
Wow.
I tried to order, yeah, I tried to order lunch from them, and it was supposed to be delivered to my office. And that was in 2018. It was December 2018. Yeah. So the lunch did not get to my office till like about 4 hours later. And by the
Wow.
time it got to me, yeah, it was very cold. It was very soggy. It was a fresh food, fresh salad. So, there was no way I could eat it.
Mm.
I was angry at first, and then, but I realized that this restaurant is a very reputable restaurant, and I mean, I usually get lunch from them. So the challenge was not from the restaurant. So that immediately drew my attention to the fact that there is a need. So businesses in Lagos or in even all over Nigeria and all over the world that have to move their products from their stores or from their point of origin to their customers would require a fast and a reliable delivery solution. So that is what birthed fast-paced logistics. So our vision is to provide the fastest and most reliable delivery experience for our customers. So that was how I started doing some market research, and then started, formulating my financial models, planning, and then I was able to definitely have some savings. And then what I did, because, and that's one thing we have to really take note of, is in as much as it wasn't fully clear, I started. I had the
Yeah.
minimum requirements I needed to
Mm.
start. All
Yeah.
right. I had a plan, I had a financial model, and then I
Mm.
started. All right. So we started very small, and which is also always advisable for entrepreneurs to test and validate your business idea with a small size. So we started with about just two bikes in 2019, May 2019. We started with two bikes, and then I was still doing my full-time job while we started, because
Okay.
definitely the business needs to grow, and it needs to be able to at least sustain my basic needs before I can decide to focus on it fully. So I did the business in full alongside my full-time job, to the point where in November 2019 it was now a huge struggle juggling between both of them, because I mean, I have a responsibility as a business development manager, and then at the same time I have a business I'm trying to grow. So at that point in time, and I checked, we had grown the business to about 8 bikes at that point in time, so about 7 bikes rather at that point in time, when I decided to pull out of my full-time job. Now, it wasn't a very, very, very easy decision, but the beauty of it is that at that point in time, I had about 10 staff that I was paying salary, and I was on a full-time job. Yeah, so I thought of it that, I mean, if while on the full-time job, I could grow the business to this point, so it was now getting to that point in time where I had to give it the full focus that it needed. So I took the risk, and I decided to go fully in it. But now, let's get one thing straight.
Okay.
It was easy for me to take that risk because I had spent some time planning, I had spent some
Okay.
time saving, and then
Okay.
I had tested and validated the business model that it works and it has the capacity to generate revenue and to generate profit. All right. So I saw that it was a profitable venture, and then we decided to go on it full time. And then 2 years down the line right now, we've grown our capacity to about 14 bikes right now. And even as we speak now, we are even at the verge of still doubling the capacity. So that has just been a story in a nutshell. So the beauty of it is having to build something very small and watch it grow. And then as we speak now, we currently have about 20 families depending on the business for
Wow.
salary.
Wow.
So that has been
Wow.
the main thing driving my entrepreneurial journey.
Mm. Wow, wow. Thank you. Thank you, Mo. There are three things that you said here I'm going to point out very well. Of course, there was a need. When you mentioned that need, the need of conveying goods, products from the seller to buyer and all that. It took me back to when we were in school, and they taught us about the issue of in agriculture, the issue of farm products. One of the things they mentioned that limits farm products was transportation.
Right.
And of course, it took me back to start thinking that in school, then we actually thought about problems, needs that were there are some businesses we are facing, but then we didn't think about it in a business way. And today, you are closing that gap of taking from the seller, or rather from the buyer to the, or rather, yeah, from the seller to the buyer, and all
Yeah.
that. Of course, that has been very amazing. And then the second thing you said is starting small and growing this whole thing, and not starting big and then finally getting small, because that's what is happening to some entrepreneurs now. Some
Yeah.
businesses started very big and today they are small, you know. And I like that because I want to actually talk more on that, because I want somebody outside there who is thinking that he needs everything. He has to get 15 bikes, he has to get 10 staff, he has to get a very big office, he has to get like 20 clients before he can move. Please, I want to really to encourage somebody with that again, please.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So for us, like I mentioned, we started with just two bikes because, and to be honest, you can even start with one bike. Now, throughout this my 2 years in business, I've also helped some other logistics businesses start. There's a case I can mention in Port Harcourt, and he started his business with one bike. So I
Okay.
did, yeah, there's one I'm currently mentoring him, and I did like a review with him sometime last month, and within 6 months he has three bikes now.
Wow.
All right. So that is growth. You understand? So the most important thing, why it is important for you to start small is that if you make a mistake, it can be easily corrected because you are bound to make mistakes.
Yes.
We're bound to
Yes.
fail. It's normal. People
Yes.
people avoid failure. Failure is part of the journey. Failure, I see failure as I don't see failure as I see failure as winning for me
Yeah,
because now
yeah,
I
yes,
found out
yes.
another way which it could not be done, and it takes me closer to the way that it could be done. All right. So
Yes.
it's very important for us to understand that we should not forsake the days of little beginnings. It is very important. So when we started small, for instance, we never rented an office not until just late last year. We've been in
Wow, are
business
you
for 4 years.
serious? In the
Yes.
last 2 years?
Yes. I grew this business from my home till when the business was able to rent its own office. When the
Office.
revenue generated by the business, even as at the point where we had over 12 bikes, they were all parked in my home. I ran it from my home. That's the amazing thing. All right. So it was not until the business had the capacity to sustain itself, to
Mm.
pay its salaries, and then to pay its rent that we decided to get an office. So you can actually start the business from your home. The key thing we need to look at is sustainability, the ability for the business the revenue is generated by the business to take care of all the costs associated with running that business and then have
Yes.
margin, for profitability and for expansion. So that's basically what I would just want to also share.
Wow, thank you very much, Umoh. Thank you, thank you. And I believe someone has been helped there, because I've actually been opportune to help a lot of businesses, and I found out that majority of business owners are setting unrealistic goals. They are setting unrealistic goals. They are setting unrealistic targets. Now, I found out that in doing that, not just that the business will not fly, they also burn out. They burn out. They burn out with ideas. They burn out health wise. They burn out, and before you know it, the guy is not anywhere to be found because he could not sustain the whole process. So I like that, because, and I want everybody to please listen to that. You start small to move to wherever you are going to.
Yeah.
You can develop the end, you can develop where you want to go to, but please
Yeah.
Start the whole thing small. It will help you. It will help you. And like you mentioned about failure, we're going to talk about that now. Some of the challenges you had as a leader, leading the organization, leading the people, because you have about 20 people now. I'm sure it's not very easy to lead 20 people being
Yeah.
on or being paid, and leading challenges you had with some other organizational structures and all the rest of them. We're going to talk about that. But before then, you made mention of something about failure. I like what John Maxwell said. In fact, he even wrote a book on that. He said that sometimes we learn, sometimes we win, and sometimes we learn. Not sometimes we lose. Sometimes we win, sometimes we learn. You know,
Yeah.
that failure part is a learning curve. Is a
Right.
learning curve. Is a very important. In fact, what people don't know is that failure is a strategy. It's a very important strategy that you need for the next thing, to know the next thing you want to do. All right.
Right.
So let's talk about your challenges. Let's talk about some of the places you think that where you actually encountered failure. If there are specifics, let us know about that.
Okay. So one of the ones I can think of is when we started business, we we ran at a loss for the first 6 months. On our
Wow.
6 months of business, I was like, okay, what's going on here? Should we just close shop and go and farm or go and do something else at that point in time? So it was very, 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 very challenging, but it made us now get back to the drawing board to find out what are we not doing right, what are we not getting right. So we now decided to study some of our senior contemporaries. We studied the
Yeah.
likes of PHL, we studied the likes of GIG, we studied some of the key major players in our industry, and we
Mm.
found out what it is that they're doing. And then
Wow.
while benchmarking their offerings and their strategy with us, we realized what we weren't doing right. All right. So the key is that resilience is key in business. If you have to, especially you have to do business in a place like Nigeria, you need to be
Mm.
resilient. You need to be
Yeah.
tough. You need to fall down and get back up again and keep moving. It's very important. And there are some things that you will never know until you spend some time in it. That's the truth. Some things
Yes. Yes.
will come. It comes with time. So
Mm.
when we now did that review, went back to the drawing board, did the review, and then we realized some adjustments that we needed to make in our strategy and in our business model. And once we made that shift, that is what turned the table for us. All right. So that is what made us now become a profitable business. So from our 8 months, we were well self-sustainable, and we had the business had enough revenue to sustain itself, and then to now talk about growth and expansion. So that has been our journey. So failure in itself, like you rightly said, sir, is not really failure. It's an advantage because it helps you to learn, to
So
get back
so
up and then
so so one of
go.
the things you did, one of the things you did that is amazing, that stands out for me, is that you, at a point you thought you were failing, 6 months without profit, and then there were thoughts to quit, to give it up.
Yeah.
But then you made up your mind to study another business that is also doing the same business with you, and see what you are doing differently, or what they are doing differently,
Right.
that you can incorporate to help you continue your business. Of
Right.
course, that is very strategic, and that is very smart, very, very smart. Because
Yeah.
at that moment, a lot of people start thinking that village people,
Mm.
those things. That one, I remember they told me that I can't do business, and today I'm seeing it. You know, and right there, you were able to make that turn. On the eighth month, things started to work out again. And you now made a very powerful point. You said something, that there are some things you won't know until you learn about it. You do something about it. You won't know about it. Now, why that struck me is because I was talking to somebody last week. I said you cannot know if something will not work until you try that thing.
Yep.
Because what a lot of us do is that we stay somewhere and we're saying it will not work. In fact, I saw something that Sinek wrote about. He said, if somebody is telling you something about how an idea cannot work, pause the person and ask him, give me one reason why the idea will work. shift the person's mindset and let him tell you why this will work, not just why it will not work.
Yep.
Because amazingly, a lot of business owners in Nigeria, especially startups and all that, what they
Yep.
focus a lot on is things that are not working. That things, why it will not work, why this is not working, why this will not work, when they have not tried it out or when they have not
Yep.
learned what to do. I like
Yep.
that story, Umoh. I like that story because an average person will stop at the 6 month. How can you run a
Very,
business for 6 months without a profit?
very
A lot of
true.
people will not go beyond that. They will not go beyond that. They think there's no future here. They will not go beyond that. And only for you to break it just 2 months after that 6 months
Yep.
because you took some certain step. Please tell me much about tell us more about failures. Maybe managing people, some of the these are even the bike guys because I have people who are running doing this logistic and some of them are grounded. They've not started this year because of managing the people and all the rest. Please let's hear about that. How you are managing people and all the rest of them.
So one of the very important things that we also have to learn, and fortunately and unfortunately, for someone like me, I learned it on the job, is emotional intelligence. It's
Yes.
very important to know how to relate with the different types of people that you are managing. All right. So in our kind of business, we relate with, from the administrative staff to the riders. The riders, the kind of the language you or the way you relate to your riders is not the same way you relate with with for instance, the admin people. So you need to understand how to relate with them, and at the end of the day, get the results that you intend to achieve. So for instance, we've had several kind of challenges, and one of the things that you cannot I cannot overemphasize is the place of training. All right. So people will not do what you expect them to do. They will
Mm,
only do what
mm,
you expect. All right.
mm,
So
mm,
we keep on training and retraining and recalibrating them, and aligning them to the company's vision. Wherever there is maybe any kind of dispute and everything, we need to let them know that whatever you choose to do has to be in terms of, has to be in line with the vision of the organization. So we've had challenges of maybe disputes between two parties and all of that. And you know, one of the ways to always solve that kind of challenge is to draw them back to the vision. Okay, this thing that you want to do now, was it aligned with the vision of the company? Was it aligned with the mission and the strategic goals of the company? And is it going to help better the company, or is it going to make the company worse? All right. So a key element too is to try to make your people buy into your vision. All
wow.
right. So right now I have people that run with the vision. All right. Like he says you need to write the vision down, make it plain, that whoever sees it may run with it. So you have your people tend to run with your vision, and the only way you can do it is when you write the vision down and make it plain. And apart from making it plain, now get them to buy into the vision. Let them see what they stand to benefit in the vision. All right. If you run your business like it is my own, my own, my own, and all of that,
Mm,
you may not really achieve that. Right. But once you have people that have bought in to the vision you're chasing, they run with it like it's now theirs, the job becomes easier, to manage. So, for instance, a strategy I adopted for my riders and to get them to be fully committed is that I have a 1.5 year plan that anyone that consistently, with some set of criteria, meets with them within 1.5 years, the bike is theirs, and
wow.
it's a win-win. It's a win
Mm,
for us in that within that 1.5 years, the assets might have been depreciated and would have gotten, a minimum of at least 200% profit on it. And then it's a win for the rider because now he can fulfill
yeah.
his own dream too. He owns his
Yeah.
own bike,
Yes.
So those are some of the key strategies that we also, adopt in terms of solving that. And I think one of the last things I want to share too is, when you want to onboard for values. All right, on board for values, people that have the right values, the right character, because it's easy to train for skill, but it's harder to train for values.
For
You know,
values.
Yes, when you see someone that consistently has integrity issues, like for me, my people know the company stand on integrity. For instance, they know that if, let's say, we have a competence issue, we can easily forgive that because we can forgive, and then through training, that gap can be closed.
Mm,
But the unforgivable sin in our organization is integrity issues. We don't forgive that one. You know, we don't have any problem with the individual. God will forgive you for
mm,
your sins, it's
mm,
fine, but the
mm,
organization does not tolerate it. So it means you need to have your core values, where this is what we stand for as a business. And anyone that violates the core value cannot remain in the business. So that's just maybe what I would also like to share regarding
Wow,
that.
wow. Thank you more. Thank you more. I am so, so grateful for this. Very much, very much, very much grateful for this. First thing you mentioned, emotional intelligence. And I understand that a lot of people don't go for that that training, understanding how to manage people,
Yeah.
and that is how you see some small businesses or big businesses, people are passing through it like it's a passage, so they come today, next month they are out, another person comes next month, he's out, and all the rest of them. And of course, the other one also is you uh, cultivating that culture of a win-win situation, a win-win place where this guy is riding this bike now. He just knows that if I do very well in the next 1 year, 18 months, this is my bike. In fact, some of them will even be riding the bike at the moment like it's their own, because they already have this thing. In the next 18 months, I'm going to own this bike, meeting all criteria and all that. That is very amazing. That is very amazing and all that. And I want you to tell me, how did you build credibility in this business? Now, because all over Lagos, my wife is into catering, into food vending, and I think I was watching a video with her one day, and we saw a rider who stopped over somewhere and was eating food from the, the bike. And I think people are beginning to get skeptical about some of. So, how did you build credibility in your business that is helping you sustain your customers?
Okay, so for us, I believe building credibility has to do with your strong sense of branding. And when I talk about branding, people think branding is about maybe having your face cap and having t-shirts with your company logo. No, that's not branding. Branding begins with your vision. It deals with your identity as a business, what you want to be recognized as. So for us, from the onset of the business, our vision is clear: to be the fastest and the most reliable delivery business. So we're providing our customers with the fastest and the most reliable delivery experience, because we noticed that those were the two major pains in the heart of customers. All right, people that want to deliver something, are you going to be fast? One, and then is your service reliable? All right. So, and we've been intentional about everything we do from that onset. So, for instance, if we have a customer that we are unable to meet up with their demands, we tell you the way it is. We are unable to meet up with your demands. And over time, that in itself will help your business build credibility. Our growth has actually been 70% from referral and maybe 30% from
Wow.
marketing.
Wow.
So, because it is easier, yes, it is easier and more profitable to retain a customer than to market for a new one. Because a
Yes.
retained customer would definitely market your product. You need to grow your business and grow what is called customer loyalty. All right. Customer loyalty is when, after you've served the customer is satisfied, the customer returns back to use your product or your service again and again. And finally, the customer recommends you to other people. That is when you know that you've built customer loyalty. And it's being intentional about your brand identity. What do you want to be known as? When you think about Indomie, what comes to your mind? When you think about MTN, what comes to your mind? When you think about Fastpace, what should come to the mind of our customers should be speed and reliability. So that's just how it has been. Being intentional about your brand identity and what you want to be known for.
Wow, thank you, Umoh. Thank you very much. That's very clear, and of course, I already know that anybody who is very serious minded over building credibility has to also study or some of the pains of customers and all that, and
Yeah.
trying to fill in that gap and making sure that he's consistent about it. There's nothing like as powerful as telling somebody I will not be able to do this now, and the person say okay I'll wait, than telling somebody give it to me I'll do it, and
Yeah.
then the person gives it to you, and after 6 hours he's still calling you on phone, where are you, and you are telling him I'm in the traffic, or whatever thing
Yeah.
you try to frame or come up with and all that, and then you are losing credibility. Like you said, that 70% of your customers are from referral. That is very amazing. It's a very powerful thing to do that, because right now you might not necessarily be spending much on campaigns, digital, maybe digital campaign or traditional campaigns. You are
Yeah.
now having almost like free advert, and of course they said in the world of advertisement that word of mouth is still remains the number one highest form of campaign,
Yeah.
because there's nothing like, oh my friend I want this thing, oh I know Fastpace, please can you call them, they have been reliable, I've been using them, and somebody puts a call across, and once it gets that level of satisfaction, that is like a chain, it continues like that. It's
Yeah.
very 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 amazing. I'm so glad you guys are doing that and doing that very well. So when you say training, can you share with us the kind of human capital development you guys are doing?
Okay, so training for us is, we have different levels of trainings for our employees. We have trainings for the management staff, for the administrative staff, and for the riders. So the essence of the training is, first of all, to reorientate them. In fact, I would believe that my training career started with training my people. So yeah, because every morning it was very. I was within the first, and amazingly, the personnel that I started with within the first 6 to 8 months,
Mm,
most of them are still, over 80% of them are still with us right now. And they are the riders that were part of those initial journey, as in are one of our best riders, because we spent some time training them on customer service. You might think that these people may not understand, but when you keep hitting it and repeating the same thing and getting them to understand the company's vision, understand the company's mission, understand our core values, all right? Because we are positioned to be a customer centric organization. It's all about our customers. The customer is king. So without the customer, we don't have any. There's nothing that we're doing here. So we try to make them to understand that. I've had a delivery experience where the dispatcher was shouting at me. You understand? So we don't that can never be heard of. In fast-paced logistics. Whenever we obviously we get such reports, and when we get such kind of inconsistencies, we don't take it lightly too. All right. So we have policies and a stipulated staff manual that shows the different kinds of offenses that attracts different kinds of repercussions. So everything is clearly stated out. So we take time to train these people over and over and over again. And then, they say the repetition is the mother of learning. So once they
yeah.
keep hearing these things over and over and over again, it tends to lead to an adjustment in the way of doing things. And that's what helps us, to build the kind of culture that we want to have in our organizations.
Wow, wow, wow. That's amazing. So you guys develop this training, and you are doing this on consistent basis.
Yeah.
Now, the average person will be wondering, why should I train a rider? Why should I train my staff? And like you said, some of these people have been with you for since you guys started, and now it takes me back to something. I want us to still go back to the training thing. Some people don't want to train because they said you train, and what of if you train and they leave you? Even though
Yeah.
somebody answered that question and said, what of if you train, and what if you don't train and they stay?
And they stay exactly.
All right, throw more light on that also. Throw more light. What would be the effect of an untrained person?
Yeah, to be honest, the greatest your greatest headache will be that untrained person. And the
Wow.
person that made that statement, that's a very phenomenal statement. What if you don't train the person and they stays?
Mm,
That person is
mm,
going to ruin your business. So
mm.
how I see it and the kind of mindset I have is I train you and you leave, I've added value to the Nigerian economy. I've impacted another Nigerian. and then I've sent you forth to another place to go and do greater things. That's how I that's how I see it. You understand? Because the risk is high if you don't train. We even go to the extent of bringing external consultants to train our people. We go to the extent of sending our people to renowned training institutes like the Pan Atlantic University and so on and so forth, because we know that. And the funny thing is, amazingly, the people that are loyal to your organization, I mean, at some point they may have to leave, but because we have someone that, I mean, we've invested a lot of money in training, and 2 years down the line, the people they're still here. So it's a win-win. I mean, if you train and the person leaves, you hire again and you retrain. This journey of entrepreneurship is a journey of continuous training and continuous training. So you can never really overtrain or go out of training.
Of course, I like that. Of course, we have to say it and say it very clearly to everyone. The cost of not training is more than the cost of training.
Yeah.
That's the truth. The cost of not training a staff is much more than the cost of training a staff. Of course, the cost of training a staff involves of training a staff has to. We are looking at monetary values here, monetary value here, and of course, what do you? But then, an untrained staff might close your shop, might close your business down. That's the truth. An untrained staff might make you lose a major customer, and all that. So I want everybody to hear that you've got to train, and don't be scared about where will I get the money to train. Like you heard him say, he started this training by himself. You can start training by yourself, training from your own vision perspective, from the things, your goals, the vision you want to achieve. You can start training from there. And then, of course, you can as you are training, you can be training yourself to train them the more. Before maybe when money comes in, you can start with training your management and getting external consultant, like you said, sending them to training facilities or institutes and all those, so that they can get more training beyond your scope. And of course, let's start rounding up by asking you, what you as a person, as a leader, as a trainer, what are the things you can encourage somebody that you did to yourself? Some of the personal development, personal things you did that could make you stand, make you resilient, make you stand, make you tough to keep doing this thing.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for that question. And it's very important, because when I started my entrepreneurial journey, I didn't really. I mean, I've had some series of trainings and developments over the years during my bachelor's, master's degree. I've had to do some short courses in entrepreneurship, but I coming from a career background and going into entrepreneurship, there are two different ball games. All right, so I knew that I had some knowledge gap in terms of entrepreneurship, so I enrolled in a certificate in entrepreneurial management program, for instance, in Pan Atlantic University's EDC. All right, because I knew that from the course curriculum, the things I'm going to learn is going to help me, to improve my entrepreneurial prowess. So, and throughout then, even up till now, I keep searching out for opportunities to do some more programs. I've done lots of advanced executive programs, leadership programs, and the funny thing is that there are a lot of free programs so that one can even do. So you may not even have the money to go to LBS or to go to EDC. If you check on Udemy, if you check on EDX, there are a lot of free programs that you can decide to develop yourself in. So, but it is very important that as a business leader that you grow yourself. And aside from doing some structured programs too, it is important for us to read too. I'll tell you one thing, we were developing our software solution, because obviously that's how we're introducing technology into our business. I had little or no knowledge on it too. But guess what? The strategy that I used to fine tune that platform came from a book. All right. So we can also decide to, have a personal development plan, identify what kind of books you want to read. As an entrepreneur, I can recommend one very powerful one or two, Built to Last. It's a very powerful book that can change your life. Built to Last, Good to Great. Those two books by Jim Collins, they are very, very, very phenomenal. So you can actually look for them and study them. And also there are a lot of other good books from John C. Maxwell on leadership. John C. Maxwell has one of the greatest leadership resources that you can ever look at, maybe on even on YouTube. I follow John C. Maxwell on his YouTube page. I get a lot of his free videos and all of that. So it's about just being intentional about your growth and how you want to develop yourself. That's why I called it a personal development plan. Yeah. So that's it.
Wow, thank you very much. Like you said last, being intentional about it. Now, one of the things I found out about entrepreneurs that don't really help when it comes to business building is that your business does not go beyond your level of knowledge.
Right.
Your business can't go beyond that. That is the truth. That's why a lot of people are stopped in business, because the next thing they are supposed to do is to get more trading, ask more questions, and of course maybe find a different mentor at that level and all that. So but where you are just there, you can't go beyond there. It affects you a lot, and I like that, like you said. And I want to encourage everybody. Google is the biggest university in the world now. Google is
Right.
the biggest university in the world. So there's nothing practically that you want to study, that you will see first of all free before even getting the paid version of it. So you can do yourself a favor and be intentional about it, like Umoh said, be intentional about it and look out for what you want. The first question has to be, what do you want? You have to answer that question. What exactly do I want? If you're able to answer that question, you can find it anywhere on Google or anywhere by asking questions and all that. Like you mentioned, when you follow people like this or you hear such a story and they tell you the books they are reading, go find that book. Dr. Maxwell said something. He said once he sees somebody he loves, he aspires to be like, maybe a CEO of an organization or something. He said, apart from asking the person what areas or what places has he failed, the next thing he's asking the person is, what books are you reading now? What books are you reading now? And he puts it down. And that's how I follow John Maxwell. Whenever he's talking and he mentioned that he read this book, or if I'm reading one of his books and there's a mention of where a book he has read before, I will definitely find that book to read it. Because a lot of these guys are picking gold, picking gold from these books. They are picking gold from these books. Umoh, thank you so much. Thank you, because these are timeless truths, and these are things that anybody who wants to practice, who is intentional about what he wants to do, will do it and get to wherever level he wants to get to. So let's hear the last thing from you, Umoh. What is your mindset for 2021? What is your belief? What is your mindset? How have you geared yourself up for 2021?
Well, for us, it's we are the point of expansion, and we've seen that last year the COVID situation triggered a whole lot of events, and which is still unfolding. So businesses are forced to go back to the drawing board again and reevaluate their strategy and find out what problem am I really solving, and how relevant is this problem in and out of season. So for us,
Yeah.
it's a time for us to redefine our business model and our strategy and position ourselves for growth. All right. So, because we are at an expansion stage of our business right now, like at a rapid expansion stage. But the truth is, expansion itself can be a burden if not properly managed. All right. So, we are doing a lot of consulting, we are seeking advices from mentors, and because I heard you mention about mentors, and I would want to just maybe say this too in as a final
That's
remark.
right.
Mentorship is very important. It is very important to have someone handhold you through your entrepreneurial process. I know the reason why we grew this fast and we've gone this far is because of mentorship. So we know you know the popular saying that says if you want to go far, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with people. But if you want to go fast and far, go with mentors who are professional. If you have someone hand holding you, it speeds up your journey and it helps you go fast and far. So that's about it. So I'm just using this as an opportunity to encourage each and every one of you listening. If you have that idea, start planning, but most importantly, start that business. Because the
Mm.
plan, as beautiful as it is on paper, is not as good as when you started executing it. There's some things that you will never know about that business till you start it, no matter how much time you spend in planning. Even though the best professors in Harvard University come to consult for you. So you need to start. That's the point. Start that business, get a mentor,
Wow.
and then go fast and far. Yeah.
Wow, thank you very much, Umoh. That idea, start it. They said that intention is not enough. Action is what you need next. So everyone there, 2021, like I told you, is a very beautiful year. So it is time to be very intentional. It is time to put action to what you are doing. All right. So I want to encourage you. You've heard this story. You've heard this story. And for me, as a person, I'm very much encouraged with this story. And also, I want every one of you to you can replay this program again on the channels you're already watching, and get everyone out there to do more. Just do more. Do more. Do more. Take massive action. Do more. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to get all the money. Don't have to have all the people. Just start. All right, start, and you don't know how far it can take you. As you are going on, keep improving yourself, keep improving your methods, keep improving your strategies. Thank you very much. Thank you, Umoh. Thank you, Umoh. Thank you, Umoh. Thank you so
Thank you
much
so
for
much.
joining our broadcast today. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank
And thank you
you.
everyone for coming on board. Thank you. So next Thursday we'll be back here with another beautiful topic on the leader story. Thank you and see you. Bye-bye. We love you. We love you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.